The quantum resonance detector aboard the research vessel Hawking didn't just ping, it screamed. Dr. Sarah Chen dropped her coffee mug, barely registering the hot liquid splashing across the laboratory floor. Her eyes were fixed on the readings that shouldn't have been possible. "Computer, verify signal pattern," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The response came instantly. "Pattern verified. Quantum signature indicates artificial construction. Age estimate, 300,000 years." The object they'd discovered lurking in the Kuiper belt wasn't just space debris. It was a beacon, and it had just woken up. Within hours, the International Space Coalition's emergency protocols kicked in. The Hawking's discovery wasn't just first contact. It was a door about to be kicked open. As Sarah's data reached Earth, defense grids worldwide hummed to life, decades of preparation finally finding their purpose. Admiral David Okoro stood in the Global Defense Command Center, watching as holographic displays showed the beacon's location. At 53, he'd spent his entire career preparing for this moment, though he'd never truly believed it would come during his lifetime. The room buzzed with controlled chaos as analysts and military personnel processed the incoming data. The beacon's energy signature is increasing exponentially. Lieutenant Commander Patel reported, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. "Sir, it's not just transmitting, it's receiving." Okoro's expression remained neutral, but his mind raced through scenarios they'd wargamed thousands of times. How long until? The question died in his throat as space itself seemed to tear open 5 million kilometers from Earth. The vessel that emerged dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed, its crystalline surface refracting sunlight in impossible ways. It was beautiful, alien, and absolutely terrifying. Multiple objects detected, the AI defense system announced. Dimensional displacement drives detected. Energy readings exceed all known parameters. The alien vessel's first transmission came through all frequencies simultaneously, translated in real time by quantum AI systems that had been designed for exactly this purpose. The voice was artificially smooth, almost musical. "People of Earth, you stand in the presence of the Axiom Collective. Your civilization has activated an ancient beacon of our making. This validates your potential for advancement. We offer you integration into our protection program. Resistance would be unfortunate." Admiral Okoro exchanged glances with the UN Secretary-General, who had just arrived breathless in the command center. They had prepared for first contact scenarios ranging from peaceful to apocalyptic. But this felt different. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Commander Patel announced. "Their energy readings, sir, they're mapping every square meter of our planet." Okoro nodded slowly. "Let them look. Maintain Protocol Omega. Show them exactly what we want them to see." For decades, humanity had maintained two faces, the public face of the civilization just beginning to reach for the stars, and the hidden face of quantum technological breakthroughs that had revolutionized every aspect of human society. The Axiom Collective was about to learn a lesson about judging books by their covers, but not yet. "Sir," Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum comm. She was still aboard the Hawking, closest to both the beacon and the alien vessel. "The beacon's data stream. I've decoded part of it. It's not just a marker. It's a test." "Explain," Okoro commanded. "The quantum signatures, the specific frequencies, it's all designed to identify civilizations that have reached a certain technological threshold. But sir, I don't think we were supposed to find it for another 1,000 years." A slow smile spread across Okoro's face. Humanity had always been precocious, advancing faster than anyone, even themselves, expected. Now that trait might prove to be their greatest advantage. "Send our response," he ordered. "Keep it simple. Keep it humble. Let's play this game by their rules." For now, as Earth's carefully crafted message of peaceful greeting and cautious acceptance was transmitted, Okoro looked at the massive holographic display of the Axiom vessel. In his mind, he could already see the pieces moving on this cosmic chessboard. The Axian collective thought they were dealing with a young, naive civilization in need of protection. They were about to learn that humanity had outgrown its cradle long ago. They just hadn't advertised the fact. "Begin Operation Starcross," Okoro commanded quietly, "and may whatever gods they believe in help them understand the mistake they're about to make." In the depths of space, the Axian vessel's crystalline surface shimmered with patterns of light, unaware that its scans were seeing exactly what humanity wanted them to see. The game had begun, and Earth was playing for. The Axian Collective's embassy ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with calculated precision, its crystalline surface adapting to the atmospheric friction. As it approached the designated landing zone in the International Space Coalition headquarters in Geneva, Admiral Okoro couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The aliens had chosen this location thinking it was humanity's most advanced facility. If only they knew about the quantum research centers buried beneath the Antarctic ice. The Axian ambassador, who called himself First Speaker Lyrics, emerged from the ship like liquid mercury taking humanoid form. His iridescent body shifted constantly, a display of technological mastery meant to impress, or intimidate, the primitive humans. "Your world has much potential." Lyrics' translated voice resonated through the chamber. "Though your technological progress is adequate for your age, you require guidance. The galaxy is far more dangerous than you comprehend." Dr. Sarah Chen, now recalled from the Hawking to serve as humanity's scientific liaison, stepped forward. "We're grateful for your offer of protection, First Speaker. Perhaps you could elaborate on these dangers." The liquid metal form of Lyrics rippled in what might have been amusement. "Your quantum technology, for instance. Our scans show you've barely scratched the surface. Your most advanced computers still rely on primitive binary systems. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Dr. Maya Rodriguez watched the exchange through quantum-entangled feeds. Her team of quantum engineers exchanged knowing looks as they continued their work on the Q-core, a quantum computer that had transcended traditional computational limits years ago. "Tell me, First Speaker," Sarah continued, her voice carefully modulated, "what would you consider advanced quantum technology?" Lyrics' form shifted, creating patterns that their xenologists interpreted as pride. "True quantum mastery allows for instantaneous computation across infinite possibilities. The ability to..." The alien stopped mid-sentence. Every surface in the chamber had begun to shimmer with quantum interference patterns. Reality itself seemed to ripple. Admiral Okoro stepped forward. "You mean something like this." The air filled with holographic displays, but these weren't the simple projections the Axian had observed before. These were quantum-entangled visualization fields, technology that the collective's scans had completely missed. "Impossible." Lyrics' form rippled violently. "Your civilization is too young for such advancement." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "First Speaker, has it occurred to you that perhaps your assessment of our civilization's age was based on incomplete data?" The quantum fields coalesced, showing the true extent of human advancement. Orbital defense platforms that had remained perfectly cloaked, research stations throughout the solar system that existed in quantum superposition, and energy generation systems that tapped into the fundamental forces of reality itself. "We accepted your offer of dialogue," Okoro stated calmly, "not because we needed protection, but because we hoped to establish peaceful contact. However, your scans of our planet, while impressive, only detected what we allowed them to see." Lyrics' mercurial form had frozen in what could only be shock. "The beacon. It shouldn't have activated for a civilization at your level. Unless we advanced faster than your models predicted," Sarah completed the thought. "Humanity has a habit of doing that. We don't follow expected development patterns. We leap." In orbit, previously invisible quantum satellites shifted slightly, their true capabilities revealing themselves to the Axian sensors. Their crystalline ships suddenly registered hundreds of weapons locks they hadn't detected before. "This is not a threat," Okoro clarified, seeing Lyrix's form pulse with what their xenologists identified as alarm. This is an invitation to real dialogue. Equal parties, equal terms. Dr. Rodriguez's voice came through the quantum field, her image materializing in the chamber. First speaker, we've studied the quantum signatures of your ships. Impressive technology, but it's based on principles we transcended 3 years ago. Perhaps instead of protection, we could offer an exchange of knowledge. Lyrix's form shifted through several patterns rapidly, his species equivalent of intense internal debate. When he finally spoke, his tone had changed. In all our centuries of expansion, we have never. This demands consultation with the collective. Of course, Okoro nodded. Take all the time you need. But remember, what you've seen today is still only what we're comfortable sharing. Humanity has learned to keep some cards close to our chest. As Lyrix retreated to his ship, Sarah turned to Okoro. They'll be back, and not necessarily with peaceful intentions. Let them come, Okoro replied quietly. Humanity didn't rise from the ashes of countless wars and disasters by being unprepared. The Axian collective thought they were elevating a primitive species. Instead, they may have just met their first real challenge in centuries. In the quantum field, data streams showed the Axian ships transmitting urgent messages back to their territory. The game had changed, and now everyone knew it. The only question was, what would the collective do with the knowledge that their intended protectorate might actually be their technological superior? The answer would come sooner than anyone expected, and it would shake the foundations of both civilizations. The holographic star map in the Quantum Command Center displayed thousands of Axion vessels moving through space, their crystalline forms leaving trails of quantum disturbance in their wake. Admiral Okoro watched as the massive fleet approached the outer edges of the solar system, his expression unreadable. They're not even trying to hide their numbers, Dr. Rodriguez observed, her hands moving through the quantum interface as she analyzed the incoming data. 16,000 ships, including what appears to be their entire ceremonial fleet. Pride comes before the fall, Sarah Chen quoted softly. She had spent the last week decoding more of the ancient beacon's data, uncovering layers of information about the Axiom collective that they had never intended to share. They'd never failed to subjugate a civilization they targeted. Not in 12,000 years. The quantum displays shifted, showing the true positions of Earth's defenses. Operation Shadowplay was in full effect, with every human installation and vessel existing in a state of quantum uncertainty. To the Action's advanced sensors, Earth appeared to be hastily preparing a pathetically inadequate defense, when in reality. Status of the quantum mesh, Okoro asked, his eyes fixed on the approaching Armada. Fully operational, Rodriguez replied. Every cubic centimeter of space between Mars and Jupiter is mapped and ready. They won't be able to make a single quantum jump without us knowing exactly where they'll emerge. The Action's response to Earth's revelation of advanced technology had been predictably bureaucratic at first. Committees were formed, diplomatic exchanges were initiated, and formal protests were filed about humanity's deceptive practices. But when Earth refused to submit to a full technological audit and integration protocol, the collective's true nature emerged. Their ultimatum had arrived 3 days ago. Submit to Axion authority or face extinction. The same choice they'd given 12,000 other civilizations throughout their history. Quantum pulse from the lead ship, Lieutenant Commander Patil announced. They're broadcasting. The image of first speaker Lyrix materialized in the command center, his mercury-like form now adorned with complex patterns that their xenologists identified as military insignias. People of Earth, his translated voice carried a note of what might have been regret. Your defiance of natural order cannot be tolerated. The collective has deliberated. You will submit, or you will cease to exist. Admiral Okoro stepped forward, his holographic presence now appearing in every Axion command ship simultaneously. First speaker, we understood your position 3 days ago. Our answer hasn't changed. But I wonder, Have you asked yourself why we let you see our quantum technology in the first place? For a fraction of a second, Lyrix's form rippled with uncertainty. Your species' arrogance blinds you. You revealed your capabilities out of pride. And now we're revealing why that was always part of the plan. Sarah interrupted, stepping into view. The beacon you left in our system. We didn't just decode it. We rewrote it. Alarm pulsed through Lyrix's metallic form. Impossible. The quantum signatures are encoded into the very structure of reality itself. Rodriguez appeared, completing the trinity of humanity's response. That's basic quantum engineering. We've been manipulating quantum signatures since before we found your beacon. Why do you think it activated 1,000 years early? Around the solar system, humanity's quantum mesh hummed to life. Not the crude defense grid the Axion ships had detected, but a vast web of quantum-entangled nodes that could rewrite the laws of physics within their sphere of influence. Last chance, first speaker. Okoro's voice was calm. Withdraw your fleet. Accept that humanity is not your subordinate, but your equal, perhaps even your superior in some areas. We don't want war. We never did. But if you force this confrontation, Lyrix's form solidified, radiating determination. The collective does not withdraw. Your quantum technology is impressive, but you face the combined might of 12,000 subjugated civilizations. Your defiance ends today. Admiral Okoro closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they held a sadness that even the Axion translators could detect. No, first speaker. Your empire ends today. You never asked yourselves why we showed you exactly how advanced we were. You never wondered if maybe, just maybe, we wanted you to bring your entire fleet. The quantum mesh activated, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Execute Operation Shadowplay, Okoro commanded. Show them what humanity can really do when pushed into a corner. As the order echoed through quantum space, the true nature of humanity's deception began to unfold. The Axion collective was about to learn that sometimes the prey is actually the predator, and they had just walked into a trap 12,000 years in the making. The attack began exactly as the Q-Corps had predicted. The Axion fleet surged forward, their crystalline ships breaking formation in what they believed would be a swift and merciful intervention. Their quantum sensors showed Earth's defenses in disarray, their military installations struggling to maintain basic functionality. It was all a lie. Admiral Okoro stood in the true command center, buried deep within Europa's ice, watching as the Axion ships crossed the threshold. They took the bait, he announced calmly. Operation Shadowplay is complete. Begin Phase Omega. Across the solar system, reality itself seemed to hiccup. The quantum field that humanity had mastered years ago rippled, and suddenly the Axion fleet found themselves surrounded by ships that hadn't existed a moment before. Not holograms, not cloaked vessels, but ships that had existed in quantum superposition, both there and not there until observed. First speaker Lyrix's transmission cut through all frequencies, his usually smooth voice carrying an edge of panic. What is this deception? Your technology cannot what? Dr. Sarah Chen's voice was calm as her quantum avatar appeared on every Axion bridge simultaneously. Cannot transcend traditional space-time. Cannot manipulate reality at its most fundamental level. The beacon you left wasn't just a test, first speaker. It was a threshold. One we crossed long ago. The Axion ship's crystalline surfaces pulsed with energy as they attempted to bring weapons online. But something was wrong. Their quantum-based systems were responding erratically, caught in loops of probability that shouldn't have been possible. You see, Dr. Maya Rodriguez's voice joined the transmission from her Antarctic facility. While you were scanning our surface installations, we were analyzing your quantum technology. Impressive, but fundamentally flawed. You never fully understood the observer effect in quantum mechanics. We did. The first Axion ship to fire its weapons discovered this truth the hard way. Their energy beam, designed to disable Earth's primitive defenses, passed through empty space. The target they'd aimed at existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, making it impossible to hit. Impossible. Lyrix's voice trembled. Our models showed your civilization couldn't achieve this level of advancement for centuries. Your models, Admiral Okoro replied, were based on typical development patterns. But humanity has never been typical. We don't develop linearly. We leap. Around the solar system, humanity's true defense grid activated. Not the crude energy shields the Axion had detected, but something far more sophisticated. Quantum fields that could rewrite probability itself, making certain outcomes impossible and others inevitable. The Axion fleet found themselves trapped in a web of quantum probability. Their weapons couldn't lock onto targets that existed in multiple states. Their shields couldn't defend against attacks that rewrote the laws of physics locally. Their mighty warships, terror of 1,000 worlds, were reduced to floating crystals, beautiful but helpless. Listen carefully. Okoro's voice carried the weight of command. Your ships are currently enclosed in a quantum probability field. To your sensors, there are 1,000,000 different ways this battle could play out. The reality is, there's only one. In every scenario where you continue this attack, your fleet ceases to exist. Lieutenant Commander Patel's voice cut in, crisp and professional. Quantum field analysis complete, sir. Their ship's crystalline structure is attempting to adapt, but they can't match our field complexity. They're trapped. In the void of space, the Axion ships hung motionless, their surfaces rippling with increasingly desperate attempts to break free. Their mighty fleet, which had subjugated countless civilizations, found itself helpless before a species they had intended to protect. This is your choice, first speaker, Okoro continued. The quantum field surrounding your ships can end this confrontation in 2 ways. You can stand down, power down your weapons, and open genuine diplomatic channels. Or you can continue this attack and discover exactly why humanity's survival rate against extinction-level threats remains at 100%. For long moments, silence filled the quantum channels. Then, slowly, the crystalline surfaces of the Axion ships began to dim. Their weapon signatures faded, and their engines powered down to minimal levels. Lyrix's voice had lost all its artificial smoothness, revealing genuine emotion for the first time. We stand down. The collective requests diplomatic dialogue. As the tension of imminent battle faded, Sarah's avatar turned to Okoro. They'll never try to subjugate us again, she observed, but they might try to understand us. That was always the goal, Okoro replied. Sometimes the best way to make peace is to demonstrate exactly why war would be unwise. Around them, the quantum probability field began to relax, but Earth's true defenses remained vigilant. The Axion Collective had learned a valuable lesson about humanity. They were not just another species to be guided or controlled. They were something new, something that didn't fit into any existing model of civilization development. The galaxy was about to change, and humanity would help shape that change, whether the older civilizations were ready or not. 1 month after the confrontation that changed galactic history, the transformed crystalline spires of the Axion diplomatic vessel glittered above Geneva. But this time, they pulsed with patterns that spoke of respect rather than dominance. Inside the quantum-stabilized conference chamber, representatives of both civilizations were about to reshape the future. First speaker Lyrix's mercurial form had evolved, incorporating patterns that mimicked human quantum signatures, a visible sign of how profoundly the encounter had changed Axion society. The collective has spent generations believing we understood the natural progression of civilizations, he admitted. You have proven that evolution can take unexpected paths. Admiral Okoro stood at the chamber's center, surrounded by quantum holograms showing real-time data from across the galaxy. That's humanity's greatest strength, first speaker. We don't follow expected patterns. We adapt, we leap, we transform. Dr. Sarah Chen, now heading the Joint Human Axion Quantum Research Initiative, stepped forward. Our analysis of your civilization's development shows something fascinating. You advanced steadily, logically, building each technological step on the previous one. It made you incredibly stable, but also predictable. Lyrics completed the thought. We became trapped by our own patterns, seeing only the paths we expected to see. The quantum displays shifted, showing the unprecedented changes sweeping through Axion society. Their encounter with humanity had shattered centuries of cultural stagnation. The revelation that a younger species could master quantum mechanics in ways they hadn't imagined had triggered a renaissance in Axion scientific thought. Your protection program, Dr. Maya Rodriguez observed from her quantum projection, was based on a fundamental misconception. You thought younger civilizations needed guidance to follow your path. Instead, we needed to learn from their divergent evolution. Lyrics agreed. The collective's Council of Elders has been dissolved. We are establishing a new framework for interstellar relations, one based on mutual exchange rather than protection. Lieutenant Commander Patel's hologram appeared, displaying data from the outer system monitoring stations. The quantum beacon network is detecting increased activity. Other civilizations are noticing the changes in Axion space. Let them watch, Okoro said calmly. The galaxy is about to enter a new age of development, one where different paths of evolution are celebrated rather than corrected. The chamber's quantum field rippled as new data streamed in. The changes weren't limited to the Axion collective. Other civilizations, observing the transformation of one of the galaxy's oldest powers, were beginning to question their own assumptions about development and progress. We propose a new alliance, Lyrics announced, his form shifting into a complex pattern that the xenologists interpreted as profound sincerity, not based on protection or dominance, but on the exchange of perspectives. Humanity's quantum leap has shown us that there are infinite paths to advancement. Sarah smiled. And in return, your centuries of experience can help us avoid certain pitfalls, as long as you remember not to expect us to follow traditional paths. The quantum displays showed the ripple effects spreading through known space. The beacon that had started it all was no longer a test of technological advancement. It had become a symbol of cosmic diversity. Other civilizations, young and old, were reaching out, eager to participate in this new paradigm of galactic cooperation. The real test was never about technology, Okoro reflected. It was about recognizing that different species, different civilizations, will find their own ways to evolve. Humanity didn't just prove we were advanced enough. We proved that advancement itself can take forms you never expected. In orbit, the Axion ship's crystalline structure had begun incorporating designs inspired by human quantum mathematics, while Earth's defense platforms now showed traces of Axion crystalline technology. It was more than an exchange of knowledge. It was the birth of something entirely new. The galaxy was stagnating, Lyrics observed, locked in patterns established billions of years ago. You didn't just survive our intervention. You freed us from our own limitations. As the new accords were finalized, quantum signals carried the news across the galaxy. Humanity had not only earned its place among the stars, it had changed the very nature of how civilizations viewed progress and evolution. The age of rigid development paths and protective hierarchies was over. In its place, a new era was dawning, one where the unexpected was celebrated, where different paths of advancement were studied rather than corrected, and where humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy wasn't their mastery of quantum mechanics. It was their demonstration that the path forward didn't have to follow anyone's expectations. The quantum beacon that had started it all continued its silent vigil in the Kuiper Belt, now serving as a reminder that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from finding what you're looking for, but from being open to what you never expected to find. Evolution, it turned out, wasn't about following a predetermined path to the stars. It was about having the courage to forge your own way there, and the wisdom to share what you learned along the way.